Everyone loves a great franchise story, but why do so many restaurant chains fizzle out after the third location? After growing up in my family's restaurants for 7 years, managing the operations for their locations and then scaling them from 1 to 11 locations with 25% net margins, I've seen the many failures that can easily be made when scaling and learned the hard way on how to do it effectively. So today, we're going to go over the top 3 mistakes small franchises or mom and pops who strive to grow make, why they stay small, and how you can do that as effectively as possible in 2026. The first and biggest mistake I've seen with hundreds of aspiring franchises is that they don't know what they're good at. If you look at most of the successful franchises out there, like Raising Cane's, Chick-fil-A, In-N-Out, they all have one thing in common. They choose a handful of menu items and become obsessed with making them as good as they can. Why? Well, there's a couple of reasons. The first is that staff can be ramped up and trained in hours, not days. The second is that standard operating procedures are easily replicable. The third is that margins are higher because wastage is optimized with easily replicable serving sizes. The fourth is that labor cost is reduced due to lower churn and higher productivity. This simplicity is what allows them to scale so efficiently without a drop in quality, and therefore there is an increase in customer experience. Many locations that have dozens of menu items, 3 cuisines to choose from, and a level of customization for each menu item to the point that the names are just placeholders means that they're effectively putting a cap on their growth. And so if you are that restaurant with 120 menu items, here's how to effectively downsize and then continue to optimize your menu based on tactics from industry veterans like Chipotle and what I've personally seen firsthand. So the first one is to classify your items into 4 categories. Stars, which are high margin and high volume. Puzzles, which are high margin, low volume, and these can be promoted. Then plow horses, which are low margin and high volume, and they need to be adjusted based off of price and proportion. And then dogs, which are low margin and low volume, which you need to completely cut. Now the second thing is to bundle for margin. You see, combos aren't just a convenience, they're actual profit engines. And so what you want to do is offer set meals and then push high margin sides and drinks with those. So for example, if you take McDonald's, they don't care if you skip the burger. They want you hooked on fries and soda because that's 80% margin on those items. The third thing is to iterate quarterly. You see, the sales reports will tell you what works and what doesn't. Your customer feedback will show you what you need to tweak in your menu items. And then you need to also change your price. Don't just set it and forget it. That's not how it works. And then lastly, for you to experience all the benefits of now having downsized your menu, you need to SOP every single menu item. Start structuring your kitchen around creating them as efficiently as possible. Document every serving size and then have custom equipment like ladles and spatulas made to ensure that this is as easy as possible for staff to follow. Because what this does is this ensures quality control, it ensures quick staff training, low wastage, and all the other benefits that I mentioned before. Now I will say that even though I've shown you all the positive effects and side effects that will come from downsizing your menu and then the ability to actually scale and be more profitable, there still is going to be a fraction of you who still have some fears around removing items on your menu. And I just want to clarify that this is a fatal mistake. You probably believe you're going to lose out on your loyal customer base if you start removing items from your menu. And the truth is, yes, you might. But if you actually look into the data and make your decisions based on that, then you've got nothing to worry about. Because the reality will then be the thought of, am I going to sacrifice all the 100-hour work weeks, time spent away from family, and the money I've put into this thing just to please a handful of customers who don't even contribute that much to my bottom line? And if they really, really do love you, then you'll be surprised to find out that they will actually support you and will continue to come and order different items from you. But you have to make the mental shift from operator and manager to being an actual owner. Now the second thing is uniting your location's tech stack. You see, your POS isn't just a cash register, it is literally the brain of your restaurant. And so if you're juggling multiple systems that don't talk to each other, then you're flying blind. When starting to grow across multiple locations, the only way you will be able to keep a good hold on which locations are not performing and performing well is by having accurate accounting, sales, and staff management metrics on hand to review and cross-reference the data throughout these locations. This basically helps you shift your focus on franchisees who need coaching and allows you to identify and take what's working from others and distribute it across the whole brand. But the only way to do this is if you unify your tech stack. And so what this means is that everyone uses the same point of sale, the inventory management, online ordering, third-party delivery platforms, and accounting software. So what I would suggest is to look for cloud-based solutions that integrate these functions so menu changes and prices updates happen everywhere at once and your reports are centralized. Because when you're operating a franchise, you want to focus on scalability and support to make sure that your vendors can handle multiple locations and offer training and support for your team. And then finally, use analytics to drive your decisions. Because when you do have all this information in one place, you finally can use the analytics to actually drive your decisions. Because with a unified system, you can then monitor your sales, your labor, and waste in real time, and then use those insights to refine your standard operating procedures and then catch issues before they become crises. And the reason this is so important is because when your tech stack speaks the same language, you then regain control over your brand experience. And on that note, in the next section, I'll show you why inspecting what you expect keeps that control from slipping away. But before that, I actually want to share one more tip that ties everything together. When it comes to standardizing your operations, the phone is often overlooked. Every missed call is a missed opportunity, not just for an order, but on top of that for an upsell. You see, that's where Certus AI comes in. It's an AI-powered tool that answers your calls automatically. It takes orders accurately and even suggests add-on items to your guests to increase your average order value. And by handling all these incoming calls and upselling on autopilot, Certus AI can create a massive lift in revenue while ensuring that every caller gets the same high-quality experience, no matter which location they're calling for. And best of all, it frees up your team to focus on the in-house guests right in front of them. And integrating a solution like this into your tech stack is one way or one more way to lock in consistency, boost sales, and then let your staff do what they do best, which is create guest hospitality. Now the third thing, and this is around a lesson that I learned, which is inspect what you expect. You see, you can't just hand someone a manual and expect consistently. As you scale, your role shifts from manager to coach, and that means training has to evolve too. You see, great franchises aren't built on one-time orientations. They're built on consistent and continuous coaching, mentorship, and support of your team, as well as your franchisees. And I was speaking to one of the franchisees that we work with and asked them how they managed to do this. And the way that they look at it is that they pair their new franchisees with experienced operators. They host regional workshops, they get on regular calls with their franchisees, but they also solve problems together and then share what's working across all locations. Because for them, training isn't a checkbox, it's a flywheel. Now the second part of this is potentially even more important than the training, which is inspecting what you expect. You see, I learned this early. What gets measured gets managed. That's why I run regular audits, some scheduled, some surprise, not trying to play gotcha, but to actually just coach. You see, you can review things like cleanliness, service quality, food execution, and tech compliance. And if something's off, what you do is offer a clear step to fix it and then follow up. Now, on top of pointing out bad performance, when a team is crushing it, they also shout them out and then they share their playbook with the rest of the group. Because that's how the standard rises across the board through their franchises. And with this cycle of training, auditing, and then repeating is how you protect your brand and then grow your locations with confidence. Now, before I let you go, let me leave you with this. Scaling isn't about adding locations, it's about multiplying consistency. To do that, you need four things. You need a documented systems, you need a unified tech stack, consistent coaching, and relentless follow-through. And if you nail those, growth becomes a byproduct and not a burden. Now, if this video brought you value, hit that subscribe button, because what I do is I break down proven, battle-tested strategies every week to help serious operators scale with confidence. And if you're wrestling with a challenge in your business, drop a comment below. I read every one, and I'd love to cover your question in a future video. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.